I'm more about the data, to be quite honest. I'm a writer. Like, that's what I went to school for.
Well, I'm a nurse, so for me...
I'm surprised you're not about the science.
I am about science, but the crystals sound fun, too.
They are.
I don't read thoroughly. Like I'm supposed to.
Thermal imaging. So this is a FLIR Pro 1. This is actually used by firemen and mechanics and maybe even plumbers inside your house to help find leaks. I should be red, orange, and yellow in there. That means I'm the warmest thing inside the picture. There's a blue dot bouncing around. That's going to give you the coldest point in the frame at that particular moment. We're literally looking for cold spots. So we're looking for the blue and black things to either take shape or get colder to like extreme temperatures of what our base temperature is. I did leave the center crosshairs on there as well, so that way you can kind of get a base. If you find something that you need to move that to, just move the camera. So that way you can put those center crosshairs because they stay put. The blue dot will automatically find the coldest spot. So you're going to get the full recording back on this. We're going to do a few starts and stops. The reason for it is because the hardware is great, software sucks. So with that, I don't want to lose any data for you guys, and I do splice all the videos together so you have one video to watch, and it will be in sequential order. So with that, you're going to keep this guy horizontal just like this, so that way the wire's on your left-hand side. So even when I tell you to restart it up again, you're going to make sure it's in this position before you hit the record button, because YouTube is where I send it to splice it all together. They don't know the flips, and it just gets to be an ugly video. So that way you're not like watching it like this, or upside down rather. So you're going to hold this, you're going to watch it, throughout the night. I will tell you, we're going to be in some spaces where there's going to be vehicles, and obviously it's a pretty busy night because it's Friday and people are walking about.
But you shouldn't see cold people.
Should not see cold people. But I will tell you that people don't like their cars to be filmed.
Right.
And people don't like to be filmed directly because they think we're TikToking and whatever the hell they think we're doing. So you're going to basically be casually holding a cell phone throughout the night as you're kind of watching it. I'll show you a little bit more tactics about that at that first stop, but you're basically our cameraman, and it is very high-tech, so I figured, look, I usually give that to a guy anyway. They're usually all about it. Right?
Yes,
the guys are the techies. All right, so spirit boxes. Let's get into which one you're going to be using, and then I'll show you the one London's going to be using.
Okay.
So spirit boxes, if you guys watch the Ghost Hunters TV shows, you know that this is the white noise, right? So this one works a little bit different. Okay. So I have it set to the slowest speed possible, so it's not just white noise. You're going to have the radio DJs and song lyrics and commercials come through in small little tidbits.
Okay.
It's
you.
It's a 50-50 shot that if you can hear something and actually make it out, that I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history I'm talking about, or something going on with one of us.
Okay.
So, again, this one records the entire session, no matter how low or how high the volume is. It keeps it at a nice even keel. So when I give you the recording back tomorrow, I spot check it. You're going to have an earbud to put in, and I don't want it back.
Okay.
So earbuds are gross. You're a nurse, you know. So, but you're going to be the only one to hear it. However, I am going to write down the things that you hear if they're relevant to our location.
Okay.
So
talk.
Yeah. That's why I look for the chatty Cathy.
Okay, got you.
So with that, this guy is super cool. This is one of my favorite devices, and I have it slowed down on purpose because those disembodied voices that Zach Bagans is showing you on TV, those are a rarity. Like, I might get 4 or 5 of those a year.
Yeah.
This guy's claiming to get like 10 of them at each space, and I only take the Class A EVPs, which are crystal clear. Like, I don't have to second guess what it is. Okay. And then I still analyze it even further just to make sure it's saying what I think it said. So again, I do a lot of analysis with this kind of thing. Another method is what you're going to be doing tonight for novice, which is what you are tonight. Okay. You're an amateur, no offense.
No, you're right.
But this is probably the easiest way. Now, granted, most of this stuff is going to be junk and garbage. You're going to hear, buy it now! And that's not going to be relevant to colonial times. Okay. Right? So you have one button to worry about. It's a wheel right here at the top. It's the volume button, but I'm going to get you an earbud and show you where to play. Actually, London.
So it just plays no matter?
Yep. It's just going to
I like that. Easy peasy.
Oh, yeah. I make everything as simple as possible.
Thank you.
You're also going to hear a lot of Charleston.
Yep.
Charleston?
The
radios?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So the word Charleston will pop up quite a bit just because you're listening to Charleston radio stations, and with that, I just omit it. I don't take it for consideration unless we're asking a direct question like, hey, where are you from? Charleston. That makes sense. However, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to throw it away. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So would it be a good idea to try to open myself up to these things? Or, I mean, since we're not in a negative area, I mean, I know you said be careful with that. Since I barely can be.
Really wouldn't.
Okay, there. Yeah. That's all I needed to know, because I mean, I would love to hear somebody and hear something, but I don't want to also encourage something.
Don't let anything
come to me. Yeah, I'm not needing like that. Like I don't know. That was the first time I did that, so.
Yeah.
So most people just leave one.
Very careful.
Most people will just leave one of those in all night
Okay.
and just turn the volume up and down. Obviously, when I'm telling you the history of a location, you'll turn it down so you can hear what I'm saying. We're not going to miss out on recording because remember, it's a nice even volume for
So it's recording right now.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
already set up. London's, the way she's going to be using hers. So this is, yes, it's going to be a phone app. I don't need an update now. So this one's going to give us words in the center of the screen from time to time, kind of like an ovulus.
Yeah.
So an ovulus, like the one you guys see on TV, those ITC machines, little box, 2 antennas up, that has 2,048 terms in it. That's it. This has over 9,200. So
I'm using that.
I know it's an app,
Yeah.
but 80% of it is also garbage.
Okay.
It's the other 20%. I'm going to give you the full list because it does save everything to a list. This was my last tour. They had 74 terms that popped up. I'm going to clear them out, start you guys off fresh. So, London already knows how to use this, but we kind of use this guy as kind of like, all right, it told us this particular word. How do we look at this? Is it relative or is it too vague? Like 80% of what she tells me, right?
Versus like death.
Versus a name.
Yeah.
Like we're going to be looking for specifics.
Gotcha.
So again, you're going to get the full list back. Anything that is actually relevant to the location, same thing, person or one of us, you're going to get a link to verify it.
Okay.
So it's not just because I told you so. It's just because
it's showing.
It's showing it.
I tell him every single word.
And it's really annoying because she interrupts me all the time.
You're accurate. You're trying to give.
If it says Doug Rover, I don't know if that connects to y'all.
Yeah.
And I have a dog named Rover.
My tool that I'm going to be using, I'll be pulling this guy out from time to time. I'm sure you've seen these on TV. This is called a Emf Meter.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he was talking about earlier. Yeah.
So this has an EMF meter in it.
Yeah.
So anything above 2.5, it's kind of like the blinky ones you see on TV. The first green light on that is a 2.5 milligauss. That's where I kind of like, all right, is there a pattern? I start looking at it a little bit more closer. If you find anything on your camera, I can prove it or debunk it with the bottom temperature pretty quickly because this is an ambient probe here at the top. The last thing that it has is it has a REM pod built into it, so it's a motion sensor. Anything gets close to this antenna, it will go off. So the closer it gets, the higher it's going to go, obviously. I don't leave that on all night because it can be very annoying, especially when I'm trying to repeat history back to you guys. So this will just kind of stay in my hoodie pocket, and I'll be checking it from time to time, recording any readings that I get. So, is this what you all thought you signed up for?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. I know you guys are like absorbing everything.
Trying to make sure I know where the button is because I'm the low tech person.
It's right. There's a button here, but there's a wheel right next
the
to
wheel.
it.
Okay,
Right,
that's
you
what I'm
want
looking
the
for.
wheel.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So let's talk about why we started here. So Big John's, this is obviously a bar, right?
Yeah.
This is established 1955, but this is reopened. They just revamped it last year to the Big John's we know now. But Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants.
Oh wow.
So during stories throughout the night, you're going to see me slow down on certain key words. The reason I do that is for the two different spirit boxes. 1947, New York, and Giants are going to be key words of things that you'll be listening for while we're in this location or general vicinity.
Okay.
So Big John, this was his place. He sat in the back of the bar. He would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not.
I like that. He's a guardian.
Well, he knew everybody.
Yeah.
So one night, two guys come in. They're not old enough. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off. They
Yeah.
come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on. He gets up from the bar, starts pounding these guys into the floor, just beating the hell out of them.
Yeah.
A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck. Bullet lands in the wall. Even if the bullet hole isn't here anymore, because I don't drink, so obviously with the seizure disorder. But if the bullet hole was ever here, John's blood is in this building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little nauseous, headache, dizziness, kind of the things I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
That's where I tell people, if you have those symptoms, I need to know immediately, blah, 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 blah. You've already had that warning, so I'm not going to repeat it. But that's the whole reason why I start here is because it is a warning. A lot of times my guests will go eat there and be like, oh my God, I had this beautiful steak in front of me. I couldn't finish it. Where were you sitting? Inside that window. Well, duh, I just told you why you couldn't finish it. You just paid $40 for a beautiful steak you couldn't eat.
Yeah.
So, we had a big earthquake here in 1886. This is where I get people's minds off of their own health. So, have you guys taken any Charleston tours at all?
I took one long ago when I was in school.
Okay.
High school.
So,
That's long.
we all talk about the Great Earthquake because it's a big anomaly here in Charleston because this is the East Coast. We're
Yeah.
not supposed to have them. So, this is apparently where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front on the East Bay side. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed him.
Oh.
They say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. However, I don't have any proof of anything on that story. It's just a great segue. No. It's just a great segue so nobody thinks about getting sick on the tour. So, it's usually why I tell that story. So, let's get off this side of the street and let's go learn more about your devices.
Yeah. Oh, really? Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was surprised when you told me.
Yeah, I was like, surprise, they're doing something I actually kind of, I really want to do.
So like the next thing we're getting is the Sls Camera. That's the stickman figure
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
However, that is a big, bulky piece. So we found somebody over in Europe. He will actually make one inside of a box, but he doesn't take American Express because he's over in Britain. So it's kind of like, all right, we got to pay off that credit card before we can make make a purchase.
Yeah.
So again, but
yeah.
it's got a tablet built in. It's nice and compact. It's got handles on it. It's got a spirit box built into it to spit off words. Like, it's beautiful. And it is all custom made, so it's a nice pretty penny, but it'll be a
It's
great.
worth it.
How am I gonna add it to my bag?
Yeah.
Like, I got enough gear
That's
in there
pretty
as it
awesome.
is. Well, I also have a full spectrum camera in here. The thermal imaging is just way cooler to watch for you guys. That's the first camera I bring out. So when I have a smaller group, that's the first one. But the full spectrum camera is a little bit kind of crazy looking because it has IR lights on it, and it's a little GoPro that's designed to do ghost hunting. We use laser lights with that. Like my group's of 10. That's why I say when you're here on a group of 10,
You have a lot more equipment now.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
and there's more different types of spirit boxes. I have an SP7, which, by the way, that's our next piece we're upgrading is to an AAC.
Yeah. She was like,
she,
what?
she has no idea. But it works completely different. We can't wait to get rid of the SP7. All right, so let's talk about why we start here. This place this is what I call the Big Red Barn lot.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a big red barn. This is where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. This is where me and London bounce around and train people. The history here is really simple. We kept it to one line so that way we can work with you guys a little bit further. This is where we kept horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston.
That's
Obviously,
pretty
keywords here are delivery, milk, and eggs. So let's talk about spirit boxes.
Yeah.
London already knows what she's looking for. So with yours,
I'm trying to get my ADD. I was trying to do that, and I was like, can
That's
I
why
do my ADD with this?
yeah,
Yeah.
the last girl I had, she had a really hard time. I'm like, just turn it down when I'm talking.
I am.
So
I was like, yeah, I can't do it with with it both.
most people want to ask the same question over and over and over again, which is somebody here?
Yeah, who are you? Is someone here? Yeah, you want specifics though.
Right.
Yeah.
So if somebody says no, that means somebody's here. Right. So we just kind of stay away.
I do have a little bit of common sense.
But I still have to explain it.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So with this location, I mean, once I'm done explaining this, we're just going to walk through slowly to see if so you can get used to listening to it. I want to see if you hear anything before we dive deep into much longer history from colonial times. But I tell people if you're going to ask questions here, ask things you know. I want you to get used to listening to it. What color is the Big Red Barn? Obviously, you're listening and looking for the color red.
Yeah.
However, think of this thing. Have you seen the movie Transformers?
Yeah.
Do you remember Bumblebee?
Yeah.
That's what you're using. Bumblebee uses the radio to talk. So the word red might not be in that vocabulary, but heart, blood, fire truck,
Things that are red.
cardinal, specifically red.
Okay.
So it might be like if London was wearing a red shirt, you don't want to hear the word shirt because this shirt can be any color. You want to see things that are specifically red. Cardinal was just something we came up with a few weeks ago because it actually happened. What color is the Big Red Barn? Cardinal. Like that was a weird thing to hear on the radio.
Yeah, that is that's an old-fashioned, I think, a term that someone would use for the color red. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
So again, those are the types of clues you're going to be looking for. That is a direct answer. However, most of the night I'm going to require two pieces of verification. So whether it be an EMF reading from the device I'm using, two different phrases from different spirit boxes, a cold spot, it's got to be a multitude of things.
Gotcha.
For example, London has the word art that shows up on her word list. You hear the number 40.
Mm-hmm.
Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team.
Okay.
Do you see where I need those two clues?
All to line up together.
All the stories that I'm going to be telling you tonight have multiple people with the same damn name. Lots of Georges, lots of Elizas, Charles.
Back in the day, yeah. I
Right.
can imagine.
So we need to know who the hell we're dealing with. So that kind of splits
What do you
things
used
up.
to do?
Right.
Yeah.
So again, we always need those secondary clues because it might be even a number that's relative, and you're going to find out later on. We get the same number in the same area almost every single night. I need to know who it belongs to because it could be two different people.
Okay.
And it's the same number 7. And so
Interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that later on. So with your camera, you're going to try to do two things. You're going to try to keep the sky out of view, for one thing, because that blue dot, there's no surface to it. It doesn't know what to measure, so it's automatically going to default to go up to the sky. And you're going to try to keep a person in view. The reason why is because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. We're going to be 97 to 99 degrees. It's obviously not that warm in our regular temperatures.
And things might attract you.
Right. So, again, we want that array of color. You're going to find that out, when things bleed out, oh, shit, maybe I should put a person in here. So that way it doesn't, we can get that array of color. It's easier to see those cold spots.
Right.
Just so you kind of get the gist of that. Have you heard anything yet? Or you
I
have
have it down because my ADD is pretty bad. So I'm trying to really, listening and reading thoroughly is not, that's why I'm not a lawyer.
got nothing on London's list so far.
I still like that one.
I know you do. And it says ass. She's stoked. She's 15. She's not allowed to swear in front of me yet. So, I was waiting for that young lady to pass because normally she wants to beg for money and that kind of thing.
Thank you.
We're going to walk slowly and kind of let her go through to go to our next spot. Turn your volume up just a hair so you can get a gist for it. We also use earbuds in this location because the horses don't like the white noise. Okay. So I started using earbuds a few months ago, and I think it's so much fun because now I'm not listening. Yeah. I have to wait for you to tell me what's going on. I love it. So it's kind of like you get a better experience.
You want me to talk out loud while we're going through these places?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure. I didn't know if there's like a point that you want me to start.
Yes or no question? Who's out here?
I think the instructor, can you enjoy instructor being here? Yeah, Professor. What did you used to do? How did you die?
Alright, just go ahead and turn your piece down. Did you hear anything come through at all?
Not that I can tell.
Any words at all? Like anything?
I don't know. The radio might have said Julianne, but I don't know if that's radio or.
But that is radio.
Okay.
That's what we want.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Because remember, you're not listening for those
I
disembodied
asked,
voices.
what's your name? And something said Julianne. And I don't know, again, if that's more so.
And I don't know of a Julianne that's relatable to the Big
So,
John
yeah.
story or the barn. But again, I don't know everything. That's half the stuff I'm going to be teaching you guys tonight is stuff I learned on the tour as I progressed and got up to
It
where
just
we are
popped
now.
up while we were going through the radio
That's cool.
station.
That's
so.
what you want. It's the radio DJ shit you're listening for.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's talk about where we are. I gave London my device so she can kind of keep an eye on the EMF.
Okay.
Just while because this is a little bit of a history that you kind of need to know. I know it's another parking lot. However, this place used to be something. I loved it. Like, this tour is actually split half and half. Like, we're going to be in spaces like this for half the tour, and then the other half is more of the touristy type stuff. So that way you guys get kind of a little bit more of the Valentine romantic feel that you got going on. So this space used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinkney mansion. So the mansion sat in the front of this lot, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was behind Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. And we're standing in the servant and slave quarters that were once here for the home.
Oh, wow.
So again, this place is super important. Other tours don't come here because there's nothing to see. That's why I picked it. I love it, and it's a big hotbed. So let's talk about why the heck we're here. First off, I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the Big Red Barn, right? You're going to get the answers from your spirit box.
Okay.
So, Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. That's 2 Charleses, and they had a nephew named Charles. So that's 3. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. So you live in South Carolina, now you know. They lived right here. So if I don't bring it up, that spirit box usually brings me something about the Constitution or signers or something. Like they're almost like, hey, dude, you forgot to talk about us. So, and I should do it on purpose just so I can have it bring it.
So you can do it, yeah.
But I'm not here to talk about politics anyway, so let's talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times from when they lived. So she would have been considered an old maid back then. I'm not going to tell you how old she was, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. Yeah, so kind of put that in perspective because those numbers pop up here a lot. She married him because her father over in England thought he was dying. He wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying. So she stayed put, said, Dad, I'm going to stay here, and she got married to prove that she was making her point.
Yeah.
She was right. Dad didn't die right away. So he starts sending her gifts to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys obviously live in South Carolina.
Yeah.
This is where it all started. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. That's what you're wearing right now. She experimented with it here, had to learn from her fellow slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not warm here all the time. Once she figured it out and was done experimenting, she moves it to Mount Pleasant, to their plantation up there, calls her dad and says, hey, rice plantations are going to shit.
Let's do the Indigo.
Let's do the Indigo. We're gonna make a killing. I need some contacts. We now have an international businesswoman in colonial times. Absolutely unheard of. Absolutely. So that's just the basis of the things that she's done. However, you guys are here for the weird stuff because this is ghost hunting. Let's get into the weird facts. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. First wife dies, second wife.
Popular name.
Yeah. Ironically, they both have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So if you want to find out which Eliza we're dealing with, ask what the maiden name is.
Okay.
Let's see, the mansion's obviously not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it. Then you can ask when that tragedy happened. There's your clue that yes, it was a tragedy, so pick one. I'm hoping you hear it rather than choosing. But that's a pretty big thing that shows up here too. Whatever happened to the mansion.
Okay.
And then sometimes the year that it actually happened will pop up. So, Eliza's children. I told you she at least had one. His name was Charles, Constitution guy. But there's more. I'm not going to tell you how many or what their names are, but you can ask her, but don't ask anything else. The reason why is because there's a tragedy among those kids. If we start poking the bear too much, all activity will stop. London, do you have any readings at all? Okay.
It says little.
No,
I just got.
the other
I
one.
know. Not feminine, not dry, it says little.
So even if we poke that bear too hard, even the EMF that we will get in here goes down to zero, we get nothing. Like, it's almost like the rest of the night.
It's too much. Too much to bear.
Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. How did you die? Did you die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral?
So I thought it said mourn her son. Mourns her son. No. It's mourns her son.
So I'm gonna
My
take-
hearing's bad too, so well, this year, not so much this year.
But if you heard mourns her son, as I was talking about that, it's
It
exactly.
just sounds like it sound like someone said mourns her son.
She lost a son. That was in the event.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. I mean,
That's
we're already
just in my head, but
we're already on track. I think that covers the bases. So again, be careful with the video camera in here because people get a little funny about their cars. We're going to explore the space, and
Is there any? I just follow you.
I'm going to follow you.
Oh.
This is your tour. We're not going to go in between cars.
Okay.
However, if I was a car thief, that would be my first tool because I know how long every car's been here based on its heat signature.
That's true.
But we will. If people are going to their cars, we're just going to go the opposite way. But I see like that empty corner up there, so we might want to start up there. But as we're walking up there, if you want to listen in, obviously continue. Like I'm going to write down Warren's her son.
Okay.
Because that's a big one. Like that's a pretty big deal. And hopefully we actually get more about that. Maybe she's going to be a little bit more open to talk about it tonight. I don't know, but we'll find out. And writing in the dark is a new skill I'm putting on my resume.
Get you the little stamp light. You know the little.
I have
Amazon.
a couple. Yeah, I have them. All right.
All right. So
Take a hike. Let me see your word list before. Go ahead and turn your volume up.
Mother's name
Eliza?
is
What's your middle name?
Wow, little.
Maiden.
Oh, what's your maiden name, Eliza?
Ego set. Did you write down once?
Eliza, my maiden name.
It says little dot.
What?
This. So a lot of times when I look at the full word list, I try to see if anything pieces together. And I have little dot.
Huh. Little dot.
He's got a little blue dot bouncing around.
Oh, really?
So
That's true, yeah.
these are clues that I look for because sometimes it'll say check V
Oh.
in two different terms. So these are like there's timestamps on all of this, so that way I know when to check the V.
That's awesome.
But again, they might not always be together. It might say like dot wow little, so I would still look at it as it has little dots because wow could have been just a generated term. Now the game we're playing with this is it coming from the app or is it coming from the ghost?
Yeah.
I do have a blue dot that's moving around.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I have it set up. You
Yeah.
know, that's showing you the coldest frame or the coldest part in the frame at that particular moment.
Right in between you and your
Eliza,
daughter.
How many children did you have?
Right in between you and your daughter, right there.
Eliza.
That's a 4.1 already.
Hi, Eliza. I heard you did some great things.
Remember, colonial times. So the word high is not going to be in her vocabulary.
Go back to the.
London's going to pull the British.
Hello. Yeah, don't let me go British. I don't. Hello, Eliza. I was just trying to communicate with you. If you can communicate back, that would be great. What is your name? Great. Or how many kids you have? Eliza.
I'm going to slowly go up to that corner and see if there's a big one. surprised. I'm getting zeros all over. This is normal. Like I've seen this thing go all the way up to 148 in here.
Oh, wow.
Like that's like microwave level.
Tell me about how many children you have. What do I want to know? I thought I heard someone said, "What do you want to know?" I was like, what?
Eliza, we're asking a lot of questions.
How many children? Tell me what you did in the times when you were here.
I'm going to say that this is almost an anomaly that I'm not seeing anything on here. I've only had 2 readings so far.
Yeah.
Normally this thing is off the charts in this location.
Really?
Like, and
Yeah,
like to
I'm
me,
not
like,
getting much. I'm just getting. I thought I said, "What do you want to know?" But maybe that was, I
yeah.
don't know, fleeting.
I'm wondering if I poked that bear with the sun,
Oh,
and then she gave us like, yes.
that. Yeah.
I'm just, again, because this is weird. I'm London can attest to that. Like,
Yeah.
normally things
I don't feel anything, and if that means anything, I don't sense. Yeah.
Let's walk slowly towards the back again, just to give it another minute or 2, and then I'll give you guys the answers, and
Okay.
we'll move on to the next spot. Because not like this is normally a big cockpit.
Over 7 talking about the tragedy. Eliza, can you tell me about how many children you have? Tell me about who you were in the time you were here. Heard you guys play. Were you close to anybody? Anybody in particular? Do you have friends that you were close to?
Alright, let's go ahead and turn that down. Let me get you some answers. You can give your video a break. You guys hit that record button, which is the red square. Crosswalk we came down was Cumberland Street when we were coming down East Bay. That's where
Okay.
the original Charlestown wall used to be.
Okay.
So Charleston used to be called Charlestown. The walled city was fortified. This is one of the very first streets we ever had. So notice I'm kind of almost like in a lower whisper here because that's a hotel behind you. This is considered a quiet area. So again, with the earbuds, I like to go to certain spaces on purpose. The reason I ask for names is because I have the full list of names of everybody that used to live here. So these 2 buildings weren't here, little tiny shotgun houses. So 1 to 2 room houses, not 1 to 2 bedroom, 1 to 2 rooms. These people were obviously lower class based on the size of their homes, but they did do an archaeological dig and found some of their artifacts, some of their tools and clothing and that kind of thing. We're able to verify that these people were lower class. It makes sense because the other side of the wall would have been on East Bay Street across from where we were walking. The smell of low tide would be coming through here quite often. If you notice, like the houses on the Battery,
Not
there's-
everyone wants to live on low tide.
they don't, but look at the real rich houses we have down on the Battery.
Yeah.
those were kind of like the vacation homes from the plantation owners in the Georgetown and Myrtle Beach area. They're skinny in the front and go long back, right? You've been down there.
Yeah.
So the reason for that, we have piazzas with the front door porches. That's to keep the low tide smell out, keep cool air coming in through the top, and it air conditions through the whole house.
That makes sense. You
The
were asking
other
about that
reason
earlier.
for that is because you were taxed based on how much street side you took. So if your house is skinny in the front,
Less
you don't
taxes.
have less taxes.
Yeah.
Now the Pinkneys, the picture I showed you,
A huge.
there it is.
Thank you.
So the Pinkneys, they didn't pay. They had money.
Yeah.
It was bragging rights. We don't give a shit about your taxes. We're going to pay them because we want to show off our beautiful homes. They were using architectural styles that weren't in Charleston yet, so that was a
So
pretty
they're
big
up
deal.
for up. They were up in the game.
Yeah, they didn't care. So again, this space here was also used as for the Freemasons. They had their Masonic lodge here, which is where it got its name from, Lodge Alley. So we do get terms around the Freemasons. So Freemason, Mason, Illuminati, those kind of things will show up here from time to time. I told you that this is a residual ghost, so we're not asking questions here.
He did his little research in the Illuminati before, so that's like, yeah, I mean, little.
Hasn't
like
everybody?
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean,
Yeah.
I even went as far back as the Rosicrucians and read all kinds of things about them.
Yeah.
So, but with this space, I get the same two names over and over and over again. Every 6 to 7 weeks, we're on the tail end of the 7th week, based on the cycle that I see, Benjamin and John.
Okay.
So Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. When I say people lived here, there was like 5 to 6 people max that lived here. There weren't, like, it wasn't a full neighborhood. So if I have 2 out of 5 names from 1801, pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Now I get the same thing, and I looked at the pattern, and I'm like, holy shit, it's every 6 to 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, a third name will pop up. Jane. Jane is a third name from 1801. Now, do I have anything significant about 1801 in this location?
Probably not.
No. The way I'm looking at it is we're standing on Belgian blocks. These were made strictly from granite. They're straight from the earth. You guys watch Ghost Hunters, you've heard the term limestone a lot,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Anything comes from the earth directly, like granite or limestone, holds the consciousness of memories. It's a movie being played over and over and over again. Now, am I expecting a Benjamin or John? I am. We're on that tail end. I didn't get anything last week. I did get a Jane a few nights ago, but we were pretty far away from this space. So, again, when I listen to your spirit box recording tomorrow,
Someone said Benjamin.
and
I thought I did. I don't
and it
know.
could even be, because you remember, your spirit box is slowed down.
Yeah, it was
So-
slow. It was like Benjamin.
But it's going to pick up words before and after the things that we need. What color is the big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. I don't need Rudolph the nosed reindeer. I just need red. So here, we might get Ben Roethlisberger, right? Football player.
Yeah.
I know that. I'm not a football guy. But when that comes up, I'm like, we still have the name Ben. I don't need
Ah,
Roethlisberger. I
they-
can throw that
gotcha,
away.
gotcha.
It's because it's slowed down. So that's the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is the best example because it's right in the middle of the sentence. So again, it's not that I'm picking and choosing what's going to work. It's a matter of like you can't make this shit up when you see it every night.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to be listening for Benjamin and John specifically in this time frame, and of course I'll have to look at the timestamps of where we are with certain things to make sure. But London's already getting the number 7, which is I'm going to explain once we
Okay.
get there. This is not the space, but we are really close to it, which is very
Huh.
interesting.
Yeah.
So I also look at relativity. Like, we're not going to get anything from the Pinkneys over here. We're not going to get anything from Big John over here. But we could get things from the next alley, which is only a block away. So you're going to see how, like, okay, we're still within the relative space. This could work. It's a possibility. Let's wait for the second clue. When the second clue comes up, confirmed. So that's how I'm looking at this. What's going to happen from here is we're going to walk through the rest of this alley. Obviously, you're going to continue listening. Once we leave the alley, you're going to hit that red stop button again. We're going to give the camera a break because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. This is literally the edge of where I'm allowed to take you.
So this is the place I don't need to ask questions.
You know, it's just listening.
I heard congregation.
Mm.
Don't know if that means anything or if that was just part of the radio.
Well, it's all part of the radio.
I know, but I didn't know if that's like, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if it's relevant. So
We're going to write it down anyway. Again, it's one of those things where if something else pops up around it,
was there a church here before? Maybe a meeting. Well, I guess you wouldn't have information here.
I don't know of a church relative within like a block or so either way.
Yeah.
Alright, so London also had the name Julian show up earlier, but that doesn't really mean anything to me. So we'll kind of take that for what it's worth. The next alley we're going to go to, I can't take you all the way through it like what we're doing with this one because I've been kicked out of there, and I'll explain why once we get there. There's going to be a few places I'm like, yeah, we can't go over there either. But you guys have to remember, I have the noisemakers, I have the blinky lights, you know, all that stuff. So it's residential at the end, and we're technically not allowed over there, and I got caught. So it's a funny story that London loves to hear because she was there that night.
As long as there's no guns, we're good. Oh.
We're good.
Holy. Got the word holy.
Just spit them out when you go.
I mean, I guess it goes with congregation. Is it Sunday? No, it's not.
I mean, I guess like they probably meant in church every day.
Freemasons.
Something about teaching. Teaching them. Did schoolhouses have, I guess they, back in the day, did they share space? Churches?
We actually have here. You can stop the video and restart it. We're allowed to go to 20. I just won't do it.
Oh.
But anyway, they love going to Philadelphia Alley. So this is Philadelphia Alley. Obviously, that's easy for me to remember because of Eliza. That's where she's buried. So you can see where I always put the word correlations together. But it used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where the duels used to occur for Charleston.
The doulas?
Duels. Like,
Duels.
Yeah.
Like fencing duels. Okay.
like take
I thought
20
you meant
paces.
like duel as like birthing. I was like, okay.
Wrong profession.
Yeah. I was like, in the alleyway.
That's more like take 20 paces, turn and shoot. Kind
Got
of
you.
duels.
Oh,
not
okay.
swords. So, late 1700s.
So sorry.
What do you got?
Bible.
We're going to get it.
Okay.
St. Paul's steeple. So
Okay.
you guys can see if
That
we came
makes
out of
sense.
Lodge Alley.
That's all I've gotten is holy stuff.
Yeah, and I tell this story still just because we still get a lot of evidence out of the spirit boxes here. I'm not going to get any EMFs. We might get a shadow, so we'll kind of see what happens. So a doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. All of those terms have come up in the past. So he moves down here because his fiance Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dad's parents. She has an attorney helping her out with that cash. She's over here dancing.
Oh.
She's in show choir, so she's all over the place. So the attorney thinks that the doctor was just after her money, so he tells her to get rid of the doctor. So to prove that he's not after her cash, he follows suit. He moves to Charleston to prove he's not after her cash. He's going to make his own. So as he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start. So somebody walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs. I stopped there because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. R.I., Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. Those initials show up here often. However, I need a secondary clue, so if I know it belongs to Rhode Island, the doctor, or Ralph Isaacs with his initials.
Okay.
So, anyway, he says, hey dude, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. Take all your money. Now, the doctor doesn't really have any money. He just came out of med school. So Ralph tells him, I got a place on 59 Church Street where you can rent a room. I got some friends that own the place. You can just rent a room from these two ladies. So he does. So 59 and Church will show up here a lot too. Church Street is right up there. That's the reason why I looked up that way. So he rents the room. Him and Ralph become friends. They go see plays together. But the doctor's practice starts to take off, which means he's making his own money. He's doing pretty well for himself, which means Amanda's moving down soon from Rhode Island. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. He's a pretty jovial guy. He whistles all the time. Every haunted city has a very cliched whistler ghost, right? Ours is a doctor. So him and Ralph go see plays together, but the doctor makes more money, so he gets better seats. So they don't sit next to each other. They talk about the plays on the way home. They're arguing one night after a Shakespearean play, William III. The doctor loves the new actress. Ralph did not. Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiance back home. The two get pretty pissed at each other and go their separate ways. Not yet.
Oh.
It gets worse. The story always has to get
Like
worse
this?
before it gets better.
So
Yeah,
cute. Oh,
I know.
Back in the day, I guess.
Back in the day. So what
You
happens from there?
offended my love. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But Ralph is from here. So what he does is he goes to his friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. So kind of a jerk move.
That's underhanded right there.
But the doctor sees the ad and he rebuttals with, let's go to Duelers Alley and settle this.
Yeah.
So they come down, they take the 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove a point and have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a gun duel. Ralph has his one shot left. He didn't shoot yet. So he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor didn't die either, but Ralph made his point. I'm not messing around.
Yeah.
So the friends pick up the doctor, they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Keep in mind,
infection.
Yeah.
he was a doctor. He probably tried to heal himself by bloodletting. So that shows up here a lot too. Actually, bloodletting showed up here the other night. I was telling that story.
That makes sense.
Now they say as you walk through the alley, now I'm going to just tell you guys, this is probably the most romantic place we have. It's the most picturesque, so if you're an Instagrammer kind of thing, it's beautiful day or night. The lighting is always perfect. Go down there, turn on your voice recorders from your phone,
Yeah.
listen for whistles. However, everybody that's local, we all know the story. If somebody's walking down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side, we all throw a whistle down the alley. So
Okay.
keep in mind, you're going to get the very loud, right?
Yeah.
Those are very easy distinguishable. Now, I
Compared
used
to the
very
ghostly,
faint,
yes.
right? They also say you can hear gunshots down there. I don't have any proof of that.
Well, I mean, it's dueling alleys,
Right.
That would make
But
sense.
the whistles, I do have some faint ones that I can't debunk. So I used to take my groups all the way through it. One of the reasons why we got kicked out, again, there's a mansion at the end of this place. On the other side, on the Queen Street side, those bricks are older than this side because it didn't always come all the way through. So the bricks that are on the other side are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint and fingerprints that I would show just to show how far we've come in our history. Like, hey, look, it's imprinted right here. However, it's outside somebody's dining room window. The gentleman that just moved in there was pretty angry. I mean, everybody wants to stop and put a spirit box or an EMF meter or something near it. And I'm like, guys, this is like a grave. This kid's not coming back to this brick.
Yeah.
So the guy come out screaming. London was there. She thought it was hysterical that her dad was getting screamed at.
No.
So we moved
I thought
on.
it was funny that they were yelling back.
Yeah, my
Where's your
group-
mask? Where's this?
Yeah,
No,
they
no,
were
no.
all in this guy's face. So, but anyway, we haven't been back there since. I've been telling the story from this point of view. I told it from other different sides of the street so you can actually see it, but this seems to work best so you guys can actually get some footage of it. But again, hopefully some of these terms will come up here. Again, it's like a residual and an intelligent. I've been down there where we've gotten answers, but I also get answers just from retelling the story. Now, a lot of the tours that you could see are going down there, they're making this a big theatrical performance. We're listening for certain specifics. We're watching for certain things. I'm not going to get an EMF spike over here. I might have one down near the middle. I've had a few here and there, but nothing that was like, oh my God, like Pinkney Mansion, where I normally get
Where
like
you just
100
have,
plus.
Like, actual, yeah.
Right. So, but the words that pop up, great stuff. I've also caught some shadows down there. It's very interesting things that happen down in that alley. But yeah, definitely when you walk through it, turn on your voice recorders.
Okay.
You could probably stop your video for a little while. We're going to go... It was starting to boot up. You just missed it. You just didn't wait long enough.
Paper.
Interesting.
Rock, paper, scissors.
So we're going to be talking about the building that's behind you, the little one with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts, I don't know if you know anything about those, but the gist behind it is that it is a turnbuckle. They say if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we haven't, that you can turn those slightly every so often, and it'll straighten the building back up again.
Huh.
It's a great
Smart.
idea. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Oh,
work.
okay. Well, then that's a flawed idea.
Yeah, very flawed.
You
This
would
whole
need
building is flawed.
A giant wrench.
Yes, which I'm sure they have in the city somewhere. But the reason why I point those earthquake bolts out is because those are the very first ones that we put in. That's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It's called the Gunpowder Magazine. It was finished in 1713. Now, I told you guys about the Charleston walls earlier. This street right here where the parking garage is, this is where the wall existed. So it went up past the Powder Magazine. Like, we're looking at the back side and the right side of it. But it went up past the Powder Magazine and then started going south towards the battery behind me.
Yeah.
It was enclosed into the corner of the walls on purpose, fortified. So if it got struck by cannon from three blocks away by the water from Revolutionary warships or pirates, those walls are 32 inches thick. The cannonball's going to have a hard time going all the way through. But let's say that it does.
That's a smart foundation, at
Yes.
least compared to the turn.
Well,
whatever.
we're not done with the foundation.
Oh.
So if it goes all the way through and blows up that gunpowder, there's sand in the roof from 1712 when they finish the roof that's supposed to blow up with the explosion because it's not going to go through
Compound
the
it.
compound the fire.
Ah.
Another great idea that doesn't work.
Wow.
We had another.
That's disappointing.
It is. There was another one of these almost identical down closer to the battery.
Yeah.
And it did get struck based if you know our geography. It's much skinnier down there,
Yeah.
much closer hit. It did go through, sand went in the air, building burned to the ground. No longer exists. So,
That's sad.
it is. This building,
Disappointing on engineering.
but it's all still there. It's all still
Yeah.
intact because it's never been attacked.
Well, then I guess that's the lucky part of it.
It served 7 different wars, so there's a number again, 7.
Huh.
Civil War was its last servant. The reason why I tell you all of the history on the building is because this is a familiar ghost. So we dealt with residual, we dealt with intelligent, now we're dealing with residual, something familiar. So the time period that it took to make this building was 10 years. Doesn't sound like our government, 10 years to make a small building. But 1703 to 1713 was its construction era. In 1708 is where the story begins. You gotta bear with me, there's a lot of twists.
Yeah, I got you.
1708, a young lady moves here named Anne Cormack. She's with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You with me so far?
Okay, I got you.
The three of them are running away from his wife.
She must be popular.
Who? The wife?
Yes, she
They
must be
were-
rich.
Well, the husband and wife were very rich.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the story behind that, I'll tell you later if you really want to know. But they were moved here from Ireland. How pissed off was that wife?
Enough to send people after. Or
1708.
think someone to.
So they move here and land in Georgetown, just north of here.
Yeah.
Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. So the wife is still back in Ireland, so she's out of the picture.
So we
She's
have the
done.
mistress child and
Right.
the husband.
Right.
Or the
So
baby
Anne,
daddy.
Right.
yeah.
So Anne was kind of a hardcore badass back home. They say she actually killed one of the servants with a knife to the belly. Like she was pretty
That's a
hardcore.
little, yeah, a little
So
raunchy.
by the time they come here, Mom dies pretty quickly. He's got to start sending her down here from Georgetown to sell anything from the plantation to keep things going.
Yeah. They're in a
We're going
bind.
to fast forward. The building is familiar. 1713, it's done. 1715, pirates are coming through town. And she's stoked. She's about 16, 17 years old at this time.
Stoked
Oh, yeah.
about pirates coming to town.
Because she's going to earn her freedoms. She's going to fall in love pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
And that's exactly what she did. She
Goals.
falls in love with a guy named James Bonney. James Bonney is a filthy pirate and Dad doesn't approve. They run away to Jamaica and they get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonney, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age.
Okay. Got
So
it.
now, when you get down there, James Bonney is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for.
Yeah.
This guy's a privateer, which makes him a spy for the British. He's a coward.
Oh,
This is not what she
no.
wants. So, a few years later, she falls in love again, guy number 2. This guy's name is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. We're going to call him Jack through the rest of the story. He's named Calico Jack because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. He's a very dapper young man.
That's
So this,
kinda wrong.
well,
Bloody jacket.
right, that's exactly it. So this is the Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. Like he's kind of
Yeah,
hardcore and
yeah.
drunken guy. He does
Better
have
than
his
the
own
first,
crew.
yeah.
Oh yeah, way better. She wants to be part of his crew, but females curse pirate ships. You can't have a girl on a crew, so he makes a deal with her. If you dress like the guys and hide your gender, you can be part of the crew.
This is her husband.
Oh no, this is the new boyfriend.
The new boyfriend, the new one.
She's
Okay.
still married to James Bonney the whole time.
This is all kind of wrong.
I told you, a lot of twists.
Mm.
She's going to be a female in his quarters. He's the captain.
Mm.
Now, she's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife.
Okay.
So she's like, whatever, now I'm a pirate, let's go.
Yeah.
Being a female in his quarters, put 2 and 2 together, she eventually gets pregnant.
Yeah.
Can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. Somebody's going to figure it out. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later, go figure it out.
Okay.
She has the baby, comes back, there's no baby. We don't know what happened to the kid. Also, she's dressed like a female. She doesn't give a shit anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty mad, and he just captured another pirate crew, and Anne's gonna go flirting, because that's what Anne does, guy number 3.
Yeah.
The guy she's flirting with turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same ship, which is absolutely unheard of for this
Wow.
time.
That is crazy.
This young lady's name is Mary Reed. So
I've heard this name.
Anne Bonney and Mary Reed were possibly a couple. The LGBTQ community loves this story. So, and that's the only piece they take out of it, by the way.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Gay pirates.
So,
Lesbian pirates.
lesbians. Yeah,
My
get
bad.
They
right.
might have been gay ones too. Who knows?
No. She convinces Mary to become part of the crew instead of a captive.
Yeah.
So, the 2 are friends, and the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet muskets, trying to defend the ship. Obviously, it's going to get taken down.
Someone's going to die.
As they're being arrested, Anne looks at Jack and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog."
Yeah.
So the word dog will show up on your spirit boxes here too. So the judge, he wants to see the 2 men by themselves. He tries and hangs Jack and all the men that were down below deck, and Anne and Mary go in front of the judge trying to, and they reveal their gender, trying to save themselves. He doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates in his eyes. Still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
cannot hang a pregnant
You
woman
know,
in
when you first
1720.
started this discussion,
You've heard it.
I heard a child is out. Child is out.
Remember that.
That was before, because I didn't mention because you were talking, and I was like,
You see
it was
what-
just kind of, I was like,
show her
that's,
what word is on there.
what does that mean?
Mary Reed.
Oh,
So we have a little bit.
See,
It's a
that-
stretch.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
stretch.
kind of things that would escape
Mhm.
my mind. Like
Well,
the
that's why
child
you-
is out. The child is out.
But that's why you guys keep me around.
Yeah.
So I can
Yeah,
keep
gotcha,
outside the
gotcha.
box stuff and put it in the box. So where was I? Oh, we plead our bellies because we can't hang a pregnant woman at
Yeah.
1720. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging because you can't hang them yet until after their pregnancies. So dad is still here in Charlestown with his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries fourth husband or fourth guy,
Jeez.
second husband, fourth guy.
Yeah.
Um,
how
fourth
accepted that
lover, 'cause
was.
Mary Read wasn't a
Yeah.
guy. But anyway, has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84.
Oh,
That's
wow.
all we know.
She at least lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long life,
Yeah.
from what we understand. And some say she actually stayed here in Charleston, others say she went upstate, others say she went all the way to Virginia. We have no idea what the hell happened. As far as Mary Read, she died in 1721, a year later, from whatever pirates died from the Jamaican jail,
Broken heart.
scurvy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
We have no idea.
Withdraw.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
lot going on with this story.
Yeah.
The only 2 things I left out. Now, I told you Pinkney Mansion site, I gave you a lot of questions. I
Yeah.
only left out 2 things that I can actually prove here. Everything else is fair game. If you want to ask, by all means ask. The name of Calico Jack's ship, I left out on purpose, and the name of Anne's parents. That would be the dad and the mistress. I left those out. Those names like to pop up here a lot. We actually got
Anne's
both.
parents
Mhm.
and Calico Jack's ship.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you do want to get footage on the front of the building, you can do that. I'm actually going to go. See where the brick wall is over there?
Yeah.
That's usually where I end because there's a little ledge there. I can set the bag down and collect things. But if you guys want to venture to the front of the building, the only thing I ask is that you don't interrupt other tours. If there's a tour there, don't even bother. Half of them want to try to sell you a tour for later and say that what you're doing is BS. It's crazy. This is a competitive market.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be harassed, leave them alone. Let them do their thing. They're going to be gone in a minute.
Yeah.
But if you want to go up there, by all means.
They're up there right now?
They just venture through. There's so
Okay.
many. There's thousands of tours here.
Oh, okay.
So this again one of the more popular areas. Just want to stay away from the more popular areas at the beginning. What was that phrase you said? A child is out.
The child is out. That was when we first came up here, why you were starting to tell me stuff before we went to pregnant and women, and I was like, well, that might be something. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's odd that you mentioned.
We get weird stuff here, and I'll be honest. This place is a hit or miss. We have a ton of evidence, but we had nothing at all. So it's like I'm really disappointed at the Pinkney Mansion site for you guys because it's a big hotbed for me, and I'm really disappointed. But again, when I look at everything that happened, the occurrences,
It could be.
it could be.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we had that. You know, the baby, or she mourns for her son, and
Yeah.
then nothing happened. I got no EMF.
I mean, maybe something struck a chord.
Right, maybe.
If that were me, I probably would also be.
And maybe it was a Thai woman who pissed her off.
Could have been.
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Didn't say the child. That's the Thai nurse. No. I don't know if there's many Thai people here back in those times, but
I don't know.
yeah.
That's something you'd have to dive in. It just doesn't pop up. And when I'm doing all my history and research, it's not something that pops up.
I didn't know there were so many Asian people in like Jamaica that were slaves, and there are a lot of Asian, Chinese, and Indonesian.
Well, the other thing that people don't realize too is that most of them were
See, yeah.
most of them, they just weren't elected into higher captain. And
They weren't considered of the tier, I guess, right?
What were pirates doing? They were capturing ships
Yeah.
with cargo. Slaves were cargo.
Ah.
So they would give them an option. You can either become part of our crew, or we
die.
or die.
Yeah.
So most of them said, screw it.
Yeah, this is better than slavery.
Yeah, my family's here. I might as well become a damn pirate.
That makes
I
sense.
don't
Use
feel like
my wife
dying
and
right
kids.
now. So.
That makes sense.
So, go ahead and turn it up. Let's see what you can get out of it.
Alright. And tell me your parents' names. You can tell me your parents' name or the name of the Calico. What's his name? Calico Jack ship. Can you tell me the name of Calico Jack ship? Or the name? What are your parents' names? And can you tell me anything about yourself? About what brought you here? Or the name of your parents and where you're from?
a small reading, which is weird. This isn't a normal hotbed for EMF at all. It
Really?
went up to 2.2, and I know I said 2.5 at the beginning, but anything over here is exciting, just because it's a dead zone.
Oh, really?
And it's obviously sitting at like 0.3 area right now.
Huh. That's a lot, right? For this?
For this area, just
Yeah.
because I don't normally get things over here. Now, over at the Pinkney Mansion site, I expect triple digits. Like, I can get to 80, 90, 100 easily once a week.
Huh.
But over here, little 2 points and 3
That
points.
matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to know your space. I mean, I'm here 6-7 nights a week.
That's great. Yeah, so you know.
I
You
do.
know. I would be like,
That's why I'm like so pissed off at the Pinkney Mansion
Yeah.
for you guys, because I was like,
it's
"Ah."
okay. It's okay.
But again, we don't know when I'm going to catch it.
Because this is recording too, right? Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to have everything. you heard.
Gunshot?
You
Or
heard-
gun shy?
That's what-
Gunshot or gun shy?
That's what you heard?
I heard either gunshot or gun
We're
shy.
still close to Philadelphia Alley.
Oh yeah. I was like,
It's right
earthquake
there.
City.
And still seeing stuff for like, it's like essay, mentor.
Puzzles. I don't know what that.
Puzzles.
Yeah, puzzles. I don't know. Tell me more about your parents, Annie, or about the ship that you took. Veteran. Were people considered veterans back in the day?
We're next to the Powder magazine that served in 7 different wars.
Oh.
I got
West.
west.
That's interesting.
You're going out west.
Tell me about what you did while you were here. Like to know more about you. If you can give me some idea
It was particular Charleston. It's not like
of what you did when you were here.
No, she wasn't.
It's hard. Well, tell me about the ship. How about that? Or what you were carrying on your ship.
I like that question.
It's very
If you can tell me more. I don't think about.
Is this something you're going to listen to? I'm just curious because you seem like you're like waiting for her to spit stuff out.
Yeah, I
No,
think
she
that's.
just gave me a look. But
Yeah, no, I was trying to make out. I thought that it said like maybe ricin things or something. Ricin. That's a poison now. Anyway,
I got yours.
what did you believe? Who did? What kind of? Were you Christian? And did you want to be a pirate? Or how did you become a pirate?
That's a good one too.
Did I get out?
you what?
Weird. I don't know if
Get
that
out?
said get out. I don't know if that was. I don't know if something out.
We had out the other night at
Huh?
the Pinkney Mansion site. Like they were done talking.
You may want us to get out.
Might be. We're going to give it another second.
Tell me about what you used to do, because I would like to learn more. I have it pretty loud, so
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah,
Static.
I can hear it over here too.
yeah. My hearing, my ADD, and my hearing doesn't. Tell me about who you are and what brought you to this town. Did something specific bring you to this town? Is there anyone you were in love with specifically? A name? God. I got Almighty God.
Yeah,
I near the church. I guess that's.
that's a good reason.
I mean, you can love God. That's someone you can.
The rice piece.
Yeah.
Her father, the plantation that he bought, was right on like how do I put this? It's like a canal.
Yeah.
So you
It's like
need,
rice and things. I
Yeah.
swear it's like rice and things. And
you
I'm like
need
rice
that
and things.
water to be able to do like the process that they used to create rice back then.
Yeah.
To be able to. That's why you buy.
Is that why they carried on boats?
They did use a lot of rices, but when we're talking about pirate ships and
They wanted more.
they wanted
more-
sugar.
Oh.
Sugar and spice were usually the things that were up. We're gonna watch that car.
No.
So we're looking
Okay.
at the word sugar is usually shown up here quite a bit. But the rice piece could have been from her father because that was what was on the plantation. Georgetown was a
It sounded like rice and things. Don't, because I heard rice and at first I thought it was ricing. I was like, that's poison.
You got nothing going on here either.
Virtually.
Yeah, she's got a bunch of BS going on with hers.
I got a lot of school related.
Should I walk around?
We could do a quick lap just to see what else pops
Yeah.
up.
I don't know if that helps with anything.
Again, when people are going to their vehicles, they just try to.
Oh, he'll get run over by. Yeah, a lot of religious. I know everyone is very religious. But is there anything else that you did besides religion? Like, is there anything else that you enjoyed in your life? Praising. Again? Where am I? Am I near a church?
Right across.
Yeah.
Next one we have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Am I
right.
talking to a priest? If I get
London, come on back.
Yeah, a lot about church, but I want to know more about what you did besides pray and what did you do in your spare time? A lot? Like what?
I got nothing back
What's a lot? A lot of what? Did you do anything specific? Like enjoy drinking? Did you like alcohol? Whiskey? Rum? You know? I know between church and alcohol, there's other things that you guys did. You grew things. What did you grow? Did you enjoy company of a companion? Maybe female, maybe male. How about enjoy? I know you were running away from lots of things, so between embarrassed. Why would that be? Why would you be embarrassed?
So Anne's ghost is said to be seen all over town.
Yeah.
I just like to come here for two reasons. First off, it's because it's the same time era. We don't
Yeah.
have many buildings this old.
Yeah.
We have buildings this old, just not many, that we're actually allowed to go to. So tour guides, we have a restricted area of the city that we're allowed to be in. So when I came up here, there's a couple of weird things that go on with this story that I'll wrap this up because you're not getting anything that's
Yeah,
real, and London
yeah.
isn't either.
Yeah.
Um,
So turn
but-
it off.
Yeah,
Or just-
yeah.
What?
You can actually click the button. And
This
then,
one here?
Yep.